Hey, good morning, everyone. This is a late morning for me because normally I get up really early, and I did get up early to put the organic farm-fed, farm-fed, non-antibiotic, grass-fed turkey in the oven. My son, the youngest, seasoned it last night. He seasoned it, and I was a little bit occupied. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, just contemplating whether I should. Well, you know what? This is my vlog. So, my neighbor had sent over a little brownie that he made, and the brownie had a little bit of um, marijuana weed in it. And this is something that he does, and he makes brownies. But I, of course, thinking of the brownie, eating the brownie, I really couldn't because it was like sugar and white flour. I did take a little piece of it, and nevertheless, so I went to. It was good. It was delicious actually. It tastes like black cake, fruit cake. I love fruit cake, but no longer eating those things. Um, so I went to return the salsa, return the plate that he sent it in, and thanked him. And then sure enough, he you know, I told him that I had done the double mastectomy, and the reason why he brought over the brownie because he knew we had a conversation about me going through this bit with cancer, and it was ironic because I saw him earlier, just saw him in passing, and he said, "Listen, you know, I forget how the conversation went, but he mentioned to me about, um, you know, weed helping with cancer or marijuana aiding with cancer, and and I had just been experiencing cannabis oil about 4 days or ago. So it's ironic how he had shared that with me, and here I was, or just for the first time using cannabis oil, and he was telling me about these brownies that he make that I should try it because uh, marijuana helps with cancer. So as my son was seasoning the turkey, I didn't get to take pictures. I didn't video it, record it, and I went to return the sauce and let him know that it was delicious. But I really couldn't eat too much of it because of the sugar and the white flour. And we talked about me possibly, like possibly him using like I'll give him the flour like a rye flour, and maybe you can use molasses or something, another substitute, I should say, rather than the sugar that he could make it for me. But I went into his apartment, and we were talking, and he showed me all of these, not all of these, but a couple of, how do you call it? Well, I'll just call it apparatus that he uses to ingest marijuana. Clean, pure marijuana. He had a vapor, right? And he doesn't smoke it. He eats it as a brownie, or he inhales it, or yeah, like through a vapor bag. And he had a vapor machine. He showed me how he prepared it, and he said he'd been doing it for about 20 years as well. And he put the machine on, and he let it stir up or spin, and it had a timer on it. He set the timer, and then when it finished, it stopped, and he put it through this bag that he kind of squished up and let the bag, fill up with the vapor from the marijuana. And he yeah. And then he offered, he asked if I wanted to try it, and I was reluctant, of course, but knowing what I know in terms of like, the marijuana and, being a medicinal property for cancer, I did inhale. I did inhale, but I didn't do too much. I was just like, okay, let me just see it. Now, it felt kind of strange because you know how you have like your friends who are not friends, or people who who are into drugs and things like that, or you think of people who use drug users as people who use pot and heroin and all of those things, but we don't even think of people who pop pills and use antidepressants and all of these other Prozac and Ozac, Tozac stuff as drugs as well. So it kind of felt really strange, like, oh my gosh, like I'm being sucked into this drug world. But it's really, it's not like that. I think it's basically what kind of person you are, how much control you have over being addicted to something, because you can be addicted to painkillers. You can be addicted to, whatever drug, anything that stimulates the mind and the body, you can be addicted to it. Sugar is an addiction, and it also alters your state. Sugar, people, and cancer loves sugar. Cancer feeds and thrives off of sugar. It feeds, it grows, it flourishes. Sugar, starches that are converted in your body to sugar as well. So, you guys could look at everyone else and point fingers and say things, but you got to think about our lives. You're not living your life any different if you're not really, doing your research and learning and taking stock over your own life, as opposed to allowing society to control us and tell us what's good and what's not good and what's illegal and what's not illegal, because cannabis cures cancer. It helps with cancer. It cures, it helps. Well, I shouldn't say cure, because if you say cure, you can go to jail. But it doesn't, I'm not going to say cure, but it prevents cancer. It kills the cells, the bad cells. And during chemotherapy, which I'll be starting next week, now that I know certain things, I want to incorporate it in my experience. So it helps with the chemotherapy, with all of the side effects. And then the guy explained to me that now that I have this, this illness, I can have a medical marijuana clearance, whereas I can ask for it and they'll give it to me because I, have a disease that will, that it can help to help me with my situation. And what's funny is that if I had not spoken to him and told him what I was going through, I actually showed him my chest as well. He was like, oh my gosh, like he was so surprised. He was like, I opened up my shirt and I showed him, and he was just like, he was like in shock. But he was so like, he's really cool. So he was really happy that I shared with him as much as I did, and he shared with me and gave me some insight to the fact, again, that I have an illness. So now I can be eligible for medical marijuana, which is pretty interesting. So it's good to talk to people. God is good, because I spoke to him and now I learned something else, something more. And I'm going to do that. And he was more than happy to help me through the process, in terms of even if I needed to have, the marijuana. But I have the cannabis oil, which I haven't started taking. I need to start taking that at some point. But I'll do it when I'm doing the chemo. I just wanted to add this in there for those of you who feel uncomfortable about the conversation with marijuana, weed, or cannabis oil. Imagine the poison that is in chemotherapy. All the poison. Chemotherapy was leftover gas or some kind of toxic uh, whatever it was, some kind of toxic. You know what? Let me find that out for you, because it's some kind of toxic fluid that were used, bomb fluid that were used during the World War I and World War II that they had left over, and it didn't know what to do with it. And because they discovered that the bodies that were dead, it killed the white blood cells, but it also killed the red blood cells. But because they discovered that it killed the white blood cells, or the blood cells that cause cancer, or the cells that cause cancer, they said, well, we can use this leftover as chemotherapy to cure, to help, not cure, but I guess to kill, in their mind, to cure cancer. But they didn't know what to do with all of this stuff, so they didn't, they couldn't just throw it and toss it away. And that's what we're putting in our system, allowing the men that run this country, to put that in our system when it's not even a cure. It has a cure rate of 2%. So imagine that we're allowing them to put this in our system, and we, and we approve of that. But once we talk about marijuana, use of marijuana, which they've conditioned us to believe that it's illegal and it's against the law and it's against God. And come on, really? God gave us that. God gave us all of our herbs to use to cure and heal our bodies. Imagine I was in the dark with this information for so long because I was trained and taught by this country what was right and what was wrong. What was right and what is wrong. I allowed this country to teach me. Bull crap. Can you imagine? So the same way that we say chemotherapy is okay and it's not against the law, but we put down and look down on people who smoke marijuana or who and look at it as a drug. Yeah. Herbs is a drug. Rosemary is a drug. Rosemary tea, peppermint tea, all these herbs. Then it should be against the law. But I'm just saying, because now they're saying that marijuana has medicinal purposes. And I was talking to the guy, and he also said that during slavery, that's when they made it, or during that time they made it illegal, because that was something that I'm not even going to go into it because I can't remember how he said it exactly, but it was a difference between them, picking cotton and the marijuana that was growing and something. But you know what? I'm going to look into that. I'm going to do my research. So I'm just saying this to say that if we could look at chemotherapy and say it's okay, it's not against the law, it's approved by the man of this country who tells us what to do and uses it and kills us, then, you can smoke your marijuana, a clean bunch of herbs that'll help to kill cells and help with the pain and aches and pains. Funny thing, I'll tell you this, my mom was actually, when I did the cannabis oil, I had told my mom's home attendant, and she was like, your mom was looking for some. I was like, no way. It's like, yeah, your mom was asking for medical marijuana because of the pain that she's going through and so forth. And I was like, are you kidding me? Tell her I got just a thing for her. So I couldn't reach her in the other way, but if I tell her I have that cannabis oil, which will help her with her pain, and I know how to get my hands on some stuff, she might see me a little bit differently now, because I agree. And yeah, so this is Thanksgiving Day. It is Thanksgiving. I'm going to be researching on ways to detox my body throughout this experience. I think I want to just indulge in a little bit of the turkey, the organic turkey that we bought. And I'm so grateful. I have a friend who invited us out in Manhattan to a billionaire's event who owns Apple Bank, and the kids and I, and it's a vegetarian meal that